Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Chapter 1.1 Notes, Day 3. Today we are talking about applications of fractions. Okay? Now, before we get started with going into these word problems, we need to try to think of as many words that mean adding or subtracting or multiplying and dividing. Okay? So, what I want you to do right now is pause the video and I want you to see how many words that you can think of all by yourself. Okay? Good luck. Okay, so right off the top of my head, those are all the words that I can think of. So in the blue, those are all my adding. The add or plus, more than, increase, addition. Ooh, and I just thought of another one. Sum. Okay, for subtracting, we've got subtract, less than, difference, decrease, and minus. Multiplying, of, product, multiply and times. And then we have words like double and triple, which are telling you specific ways to multiply. Then we have divide, quotient, and half. And half, once again, is just a specific what and tells you what to divide by. Okay? Now, these are not all of them. There are tons more, just we don't have time to go through all those. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now I know some of the numbering is a little off, but it's okay. We're going to do the front page together and the back side is your homework. So number one, it says Miss Fur has 30 students in her 8th period class. One day during flu season, 3/5 of the students were absent. How many students were absent that day? Well, let's take a look at some key information. First is telling us that there were 30 students and then 3/5 of them were absent. Now, we need to find the word that tells us what to do. Miss Fleur has 30 students in her 8th period class. One day during flu season, 3/5 of the students. Okay? They're telling us right there of that we have to multiply. Okay? So we have 30 times 3/5. So it looks like we're multiplying fractions right here, except I only have one fraction. I have to take that 30 and put it over 1. Okay? And now we are looking at the corners to see if there's anything we can reduce. And we can. Okay? 30 and 5. You can divide both of those by 5. The 5 changes to a 1, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. I'm just going to rewrite this. So we have 6/1 times 3/1. And now we just multiply straight across. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 1 is 1. And 18/1 is the same thing as saying 18. Now, make sure we answer the question. How many students were absent that day? Well, on that day, 18 students. Okay? So don't forget to label your answer. All right, number 2. So it's a chocolate chip cookie recipe that makes 24 cookies requires 3/4 cup of brown sugar. If Kayla wants to make 48 cookies, how much brown sugar does she need? Okay, well, the key thing they're talking about here is they're asking about how much sugar, okay? Now, we need to think a little bit. They told us 24 and 48. We're not multiplying 3/4 times 48. That would be insane. Okay, you're pretty much telling me that each cookie has 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and that's way too much. Okay? They're making 2 batches because 24 plus 24 is 48. Okay? Now in class, someone was like, well, Mr. Grice, the word of there is there. That means that we have to multiply. Okay? That's the wrong kind of. And I know it's hard, but you got to pay very close attention to what those words are talking about. Okay? So here we are doing 3/4 plus 3/4. Okay, with addition, we need an LCD, and the denominators are the same, so we don't have to worry about it. We can just add straight across, and we get 6/4. That's right, the denominator does not change. We always want to reduce our fraction, and then 6/4 reduces by 2 to 3/2. Okay? And we would say 3/2 cups. Now, you could divide that out. I'm just going to do this off to the side. If we wanted to put that in a decimal, we would say that this is 3 divided by 2. So 3 divided by 2. How many times does 2 go into 3 without going over? Well, it goes into there one time. 1 times 2 is 2. We would subtract and we get 1. And I don't want a remainder. So I'm going to add a 0 and I'm going to put the decimal down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I'm happy, but this would also be, we could say, 1.5 cups. Okay? Now, a student in class noticed that, hey, what about 24 times 2? Yeah, we could do 24 times 2. Or 24 times 2 gives us 48, and we could double the recipe. And we would just multiply, because 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4, and then once again we would just reduce it and divide by 2. All right, next one. Colin plans to have his 18 1/4 inch by 12 1/4 inch painting custom framed. The frame he chose is 2 1/8 inches wide. What will be the new length and width of the picture plus the frame be? Now, for this one, we need to draw a picture. All right, so here we go. Here's my 18.5 by 12 1/4. I'm just going to label them 2. So this is 18. Oh, I want to do that up here. 18 1/4. This is my 12 1/4. Now, for my frame that we are building, we'll put it in gray. It goes all the way around. Okay, it goes on the outside of the frame. Now, how big is the frame? 2 1/8. Now, it's 2 1/8 on each side, okay? So now when we're adding this up, we're adding up all the way from 2 1/8, 18 1/4. Oh, I'm sorry. It would be going this way, so that'd be the 12 1/4. And then this way we would be adding up those numbers. So there's a lot of stuff that we're adding together. Now, for both of these, I need to know what 2 1/8 plus 2 1/8 is. That's the one we're going to be using the most. Now, we're going to be doing checkmark method for everything. Okay? So, as we do the checkmark real quick, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. So we have 17/8 plus 17/8. All right, well, what's 17/8? What's 17 plus 17? Okay, 7 plus 7 is 1. Carry it, 34. We have 34/8. And we can reduce that by 2. And we're going to get 17/4. Now, that's just the side work, guys. Okay? We have to do the length and the width. So for the length, we have the 18 and 1/4 plus the 17 over 4. Now, before we get started, we're doing check mark. So if you have your multiplication chart, it's going to be easy. It's 18 times 4, or do it the long way. 4 times 8 is 32. We get 72 plus 1, so that's 73 over 4 plus 17 over 4. Okay. And remember, if you're having trouble, just add it up off to the side. So that equals 90 over 4, and we always want to check, can we reduce? Well, both of those numbers are even, so I can divide them by 2. And we get our answer of 45 over 2, and that's inches. And if you want to know what that actually works out to, you can do it like we did in the last problem. 2 goes into 4 2 times. Oh, drop the 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times. Add the 0. And that's 27.5 inches. Okay? Now, let's do the width. Let's see if you can set it up yourself. So we've got 12.25 plus 17.25. So we got to do that check mark method again. So 12 times 4 plus 1. What'd you get? Well, 12 times 4 is 48, and 48 plus 1 is 49. Once again, we can add everything because we have a common denominator. So 49 plus 17, carry the 1, should have gotten 63. I'm sorry, not 63, that's 66. I was doing it too fast in my head. Okay, go ahead and reduce, and we get 33 over 2. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the long division. 2 goes into 3 one time. Drop the 3. 2 goes into 13 6 times. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. So that'd be or 16.5 inches. Okay, that way you get a better understanding of what that number actually is. All right, last one. Number 7, truly number 4. So Jenny's gas tank holds 11 2/3 gallons, while Sergio's gas tank holds 14 3/4. How much more gas does Sergio's car hold? Okay. Now, I know this is tricky because it says more. Okay. But if I want to know how much older I am than you, we would subtract our ages. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're actually going to subtract those two numbers. All right. And when we subtract like this, I'm going to subtract the bigger one from the smaller one. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is the check mark method. Okay. So 14 times 4 plus 3. And you get 59 over 4 minus 11 times 3 is 33. 33 plus 2 is 35. Now, our next issue is we're subtracting and we need an LCD. So I'm just going to think of the multiples real quick. And I'm looking for a number that they both have in common. Oh, I'm going to move this down a little bit. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Did you see that they both have 12 in common? Well, good. That tells me that I have to multiply the 4 by 3 and the 3 I'm multiplying by 4. And what you multiply the top by, you have to multiply the bottom by. All right, I was nice. I told you what the denominators were. You have to do 59 times 3 and 35 times 4. Why don't you guys pause the video and do that for me? Okay, and you should have gotten 177 and 140. And then the last thing to do is we're going to subtract them. Okay, and when you get that, you should get 37 over 12. Now, the answer 37 over 12 gallons is correct. And you might be like, well, I really don't know how many gallons that really is. So 37 divided by 12. How many times does 12 go into 37 without going over? It's 3 times. And you get 36. And this one we would write 3 and 1/12 if we don't want the decimal. Okay? So 3 and 1/12 gallons. So approximately 3 gallons more. Okay? Now, if you're having trouble with this or you need extra help, please come see Ms. Kranz or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Chapter 1.1 Notes, Part 3. Thanks for watching.